Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Zemo, the Dad in DPS, and we are back once again for another episode of Scrip My Pants, as you can see from the rusty pick in the background. Now, before we get into the video, don't forget to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like to support the channel more, you can click that join link to become a YouTube member, or you can click the coffee link to support me in a different way. Anyway, let's see what horrible crap I find this week. Alright, another 2000 scrip. What are we gonna get? Bad start. Exterminator's short Gatling gun, 25 damage while aiming, fast start, movement speed while aiming. Now don't get me wrong, this would have been amazing if it was anything but Exterminators. I say that with irony, you know what effects I like, guys. Exterminators just makes this pretty useless on the basis that there's not enough bugs and mirelurks in the game. Ugh. Next up, Nocturnal pipe pistol with last shot, pipe bolt action pistol rather, with last shot and faster reload. Now on a nocturnal build, I suppose this would actually be an okay little gun. I actually like the pipe pistols nowadays. Go back a year, different story. So that if you are running a nocturnal build, this is potentially an okay weapon, but I don't tend to run nocturnal. But then again, maybe I should test it out and see how it goes. Either way, not my cup of tea. Alright, so bloodied 50 cal with bashing damage and movement speed. Now, unfortunately, this is just the equivalent of having a bloodied 50 cal. Bashing damage means nothing on this weapon, and faster movement speed while aiming, I suppose, is okay, but it's not the best, sadly. Moving on. Furious short action lever action rifle. I always get furious with explosive, and I never know why. Yeah, this is kind of a problematic weapon. Don't get me wrong, if you are killing enemies quite quickly, the explosive does work, but the idea of this gun is you're killing things pretty quick. You shouldn't be hitting enough furious shots for this to matter, on a consecutive target at least, and the ability to explode for air damage just completely nullifies that. So yeah, bad gun, 100% going in the bin. Medic's Cryolator, limb damage, and breaks 50% slower. I don't even need to tell you why I don't like that. Anti-armor submachine gun with last shot and 1 agility. Now this one's okay. Submachine gun's clip isn't ridiculously huge in comparison to some things. Last shot probably not the best effect, but it's not the worst. The 1 agility again is not the best effect you can get on there, but once again not the worst. So overall, meh, but not like rubbish. Instigating pump action shotgun with 25 damage while aiming and 25 less VATS action point cost. Now, instigating on this gun is very good. It will kill things in VATS quite easily, but that kind of gets rid of the whole 25 damage while aiming thing. So it is unfortunate when it comes to that. The VATS action point cost does technically work with instigating quite well, but yeah, middle effect should be something else if it were me. Crit, probably. Furious Broadsider, bashing damage, 250 resistance while loading. Bashing damage and Furious on an explosive weapon. No. No. No, no, no. 2-shot Hellstorm missile launcher, limb damage, and 25 VATS action point cost. This could be interesting. This is something I want to test. Yes. 2-shot on this gun is actually, well, it's the best main effect. Don't get me wrong, middle effect could use some work, but the bottom effect is right on the money. This could be really good. I'm interested to see how that works. Definitely interested. Junkie's short 10mm, 25 faster fire rate, movement speed while aiming. It's Junkies, so it's okay. It's not the best. Faster fire rate, movement speed. You know, this gun could actually be really good in the future if they improve Junkies. But at the moment, it's kind of not even low tier in my opinion. It's kind of meh. But, you know, it's worth me keeping and at least seeing how it goes later on. And again, I might have loads of them. I'm not really sure. Gormon's bow, bashing damage, and 25% VATS action point cost. Now, the problem with that being, bashing damage on this weapon is the absolute balls. VATS action points cost is okay, so on the Gormond build, I suppose it's okay, but again, it's kind of a very meh version of the weapon. There are far better effects that you could get on there. Zealot's combat shotgun, bashing damage, and 25% VATS action point cost. Gonna scrip it. 100% gonna scrip it. Sigh. It's a Stalker short Gatling gun with bashing damage. And VATS action, but no. Zealot's Ultrasight Laser Pistol, 25 damage while aiming, resistance while reloading. This week is not going well. That is an Assaultron head. No, not going to talk about it. Executioner's Submachine Gun with 25 damage while aiming, 1 perception. This one's okay. Executioner's a very decent effect. 25 damage while aiming is a very decent effect. 1 perception on a rifle is actually not too bad. It helps improve your accuracy, all that kind of thing. So overall, not a bad weapon. Just not, you know, the god roll I would have wanted it to be. As I would always want every weapon I get to be a god roll. But, you know, that is what it is. Berserker's Missile Launcher with 25 damage while aiming and 1 perception. Why is Berserkers even a thing still? This is bad. 2 more to go. Exterminator's Fistical, limb damage, breaks 50% slower. I am error. And last but not least, probably least, we'll see. Executioner's Crusader Pistol with replenish action points for each kill and breaks 50% slower. This one is an okay version of the Crusader Pistol. I don't recall having many Executioner versions. Replenish action points with each kill is actually an okay effect in my book, especially if it's a VATS heavy weapon that you intend to use. Don't get me wrong, this is probably not the best effect for a Crusader Pistol on the basis that it's small arms, so you don't really take on very big enemies with them very often, unless you're fighting Errol and the Queen. But when you are, it's probably going to do some decent damage. So I'm actually okay with this one. So, yeah, talkback time. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I think for the first pick tonight, I'm going to go for the Executioner's Submachine Gun. Executioner's is a very slept-on effect, and I think it is very decent. Combine it with the 25 damage while aiming, the 1 perception. If you're up against something like Errol and the Queen, and you're aiming at it in the sky, or Errol's, well actually I suppose Errol could end up in the sky, he does some weird crap. Yeah, this is going to be a very decent weapon to use, especially when they get below that 40% health mark. Don't get me wrong, I probably wouldn't use it up until they're past the 40% hit mark, but you get what I mean. It's a good weapon as far as I'm concerned, and I tested one recently with a different effect and it did really well, so I'm actually quite happy with this. This is actually quite near a god roll, and it doesn't really matter what that last effect was, if it was the VATS crit, the VATS AP, or the reload speed. I don't think it matters all to that much because this thing reloads pretty damn fast anyway. So overall, I'm very happy with it. Now, as I just said with Executioners, it's a decent effect. This one is no different. Now, don't get me wrong, on my pistol build, I think I could benefit from a Executioner's set up with certain things, and because it's nice and light, it's the kind of thing I can carry around fairly easy without, you know, over encumbering myself too much. On top of that, the replenish action points for each kill makes it very usable on regular enemies in order to continue to be able to shoot as you're killing them. And yeah, it breaks 50% slower. There's nothing really wrong with the effect, it's just not optimized, but at the same time, it's better than getting something that is completely irrelevant to the gun. Which at this moment in time, I can't think if there's anything in that slot that actually, well, better than getting like 1 perception, I suppose, is the way I'd put it. Either way, I'm okay with it. It's not the best Crusader pistol I've got, but it's certainly not the worst that I've ever got either. And we come to our top pick of tonight. Now, I don't think anybody would have guessed anything else, personally. 2-shot on an explosive weapon that I don't already have with 2-shot on it is pretty much prime candidate for me testing it. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not on the build I would have liked it to be on, which would be my heavy weapons build in power armor. However, I can still test it because it being an explosive weapon, it's pretty much not bound by the same rules that most heavy weapons are, i.e. you don't get the boost from the strength perks in most cases. So all I really need is the Demolition Expert perk in Grenadier, and hopefully it should do really well. Don't get me wrong, stabilized would be good, but it's not the end of the world in terms of testing. And I hope This actually makes it usable. My previous experience with using this type of weapon has been very lackluster. But this might change my mind. And there has been little tweaks to explosive stuff recently, so you never know, it might do really well. So, that was tonight's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like to support the channel more, there is the obvious links of Ko-fi down below and the YouTube member button that says join. So let's thank our YouTube members, which are Golty, Wyatt Blackburn, Wallers, me, Dealfane Gaming, Colin G, Brian RMC, Peggy McKnight, Matasbo, Devilman Games, Marcus Carrasco, Scott S, Bubba Doodle Mom, Ranger McSpriddle, and Anxiety Rangers. A big thanks to every single one of you. It's really appreciated, and I hope that you guys are still enjoying the content. So yeah, as usual, you can either win some, you lose some. I think the two-shot, the two-shot Hellstrom missile launcher is actually one of the better versions of it. Actually, it's the best version of it I've managed to find, which in terms of how it is, just makes it a valuable weapon to me, because it gets harder and harder to make videos on weapons on the basis that if I get like the best version of that weapon every time, then I'm going to make a video on it, and I'm going to run out of videos I can make, because who's going to want to see the weaker version of that weapon when they know that the pinnacle of its type completely shreds everything? No one. Well, maybe you guys. I honestly don't know. Either way, I'm really looking forward to using this damn thing, and we will catch you next time in the Wasteland.